We often think of empathy as something you're either born with or you're not. But what if that's not true? What if we could actually teach it? Well, today we're diving into a really cool study that tried to do exactly that, and the results could change the future of elder care. I mean, think about it for a second. It's a huge challenge, right? How do you possibly bridge a 60-year gap in life experience? Sure, a nursing student in their 20s can read about aging in a textbook, but how do they really get what it feels like day in and day out? That's the exact question researchers at the University of CADS wanted to figure out. And their solution was just brilliant. Instead of just telling the students what it's like, they decided to let them actually feel it. They used some pretty incredible technology to give these young students a real, first-hand taste of what their future patients go through every single day. So how in the world do you give a 20-year-old the body of an 80-year-old? Well, it all comes down to this really fascinating piece of tech at the heart of the whole experiment. This is called the GERT suit, and it's basically a full-body aging machine. Students put on these special goggles that mimic having cataracts and tunnel vision. They wear ear defenders that simulate high-frequency hearing loss. Then there are braces and weights that make their joints all stiff and make it tough to even turn their head. And to top it off, special gloves cut down their strength and coordination. In just a few minutes, a 20-year-old is suddenly experiencing the world from an 80-year-old's body. Okay, so a high-tech suit is a cool idea, for sure. But why go to all this trouble? Well, because this research is trying to solve a huge and rapidly growing problem in healthcare. Just look at this number, 426 million. That's the projected number of people over the age of 80 by the year 2050. It's expected to triple. This isn't some small niche issue. It's a massive shift in our society. And it means we desperately need healthcare workers who aren't just clinically skilled, but who are also deeply empathetic. And this really points to a big change we need to see in healthcare. For a long time, the approach was disease-focused. Treat the symptoms, look at the chart, but maybe you miss the actual person. The goal now is to shift to what's called person-centered care, which is the gold standard. It's all about building a relationship, respecting the individual, and understanding their life, not just their medical file. And the stakes here are incredibly high. This isn't just about being nice or having a good bedside manner. Research shows, flat out, that a lack of empathy leads to actual negative health outcomes. So teaching empathy isn't some soft skill. It's a critical part of good medicine. So this brings us right back to the study itself. The researchers set up this experiment to see if they could combine different teaching methods to build that essential bridge of understanding. They called it a multimodal intervention, which sounds fancy, but the idea is pretty simple. Just hit the problem from a few different angles. So they took 70 nursing students and combined the usual classroom theory with two really powerful experiences: wearing that GERT age simulation suit and listening to the personal life story of a 75-year-old volunteer. But here's where the experiment gets really, really clever. They knew the combination of the suit and the story would be powerful. But they wondered, does the order you do them in make a difference? Would one sequence be better than the other for actually building empathy? So they split the students into two groups. Group 1 got the physical experience first. They put on a suit, felt all the limitations, and then they heard the personal story. Group 2 did it the other way around. They listened to the story first, made that emotional connection, and then they put on the suit. Same ingredients, just a different recipe. So, did the order matter? Oh, you bet it did. The results were incredibly clear, and they point to a powerful conclusion about how we learn to understand each other. When they measured the students' empathy levels before and after, the data left absolutely no doubt. One of the sequences was way more effective at creating a real connection. And here it is. This chart shows it all. The group that put on the suit first and then heard the story showed a much, much higher level of empathy. It seems that feeling those physical challenges before hearing the personal story, well, that just opened them up to a whole deeper level of understanding. The researchers' own conclusion says it all, really. It's not just about the tools you use. It's about the journey you take the learner on. Experiencing that physical reality first seems to create the perfect foundation for the emotional connection of a story to truly take root. So this is so much more than just an interesting academic finding, right? It has huge implications for how we train the people who are going to care for our loved ones, and eventually for us too. So what's the big takeaway here? First, the order matters. Feel first, then hear.
But the most important thing is that empathy isn't some magical gift. It's a skill. It can actually be taught. This study gives us a practical blueprint for creating a new generation of caregivers who see a whole person, not just a patient. And that leads to better, more dignified care for everybody.
And that leaves us with a pretty powerful thought to end on. What if this wasn't just a study? What if every single medical and nursing student went through this experience? Just imagine a healthcare system filled with people who have literally walked a mile in their patients' shoes. This study shows us that's not just a nice idea, it's a real achievable goal.